Interesting thing about differences. Most couples are always different. If you get somebody that's aligned like you, you're probably not going to be together very long. And why God designed it that way, I have no idea. I plan to have a long talk with him about it one day. But that aside, differences are good for us, because if we were alike, we would never grow. And that's one of the things that differences come into play, is we look at them oftentimes as being adversarial, and in reality, they're our allies. Sonia being different than I am makes me grow. Why? She's kind, and she's good, and she sees the good in other people and everything, and I don't always see that. And I need that. That makes me grow. And vice versa. Sometimes, you want to, how do I make you grow?
Good point. So, yeah, our differences, and you make me grow, because you sometimes are more
No pressure.
yeah, no pressure. I had no that's what was going to come
I didn't tell her I was going to do that.
Conversation. So yeah, you make me grow in that I have to be neater and cleaner and more organized.
Oh, okay.
Because you like the organization, and usually I'm just like, yeah. And so it helps me to be more organized, which is a really, really good thing, especially knowing what I'm going to say.
So here's the deal. Here's an example of differences. Okay, the two. She can take that lightheartedly. I probably wouldn't, but if she had done that to me. So what does that mean? That means we need to embrace who God has given us. If you're not embracing the differences, if you're not embracing who they are, then you're missing part of what God's doing in your life. Because them being different, if you expect them to be like you, number one, that's not going to happen. And number two, you're missing what God's doing. So tune in. So look at differences through a different lens. Look at them as your friends, your allies. They're actually the things that are different about us, or my weaknesses. Sonia's strengths are my weaknesses. And because we're different, that helps me in my life and helps me to grow, and vice versa. So you have some ideas and suggestions about how to practically walk that out?
So practically, we're going to walk that out. And I think that the understanding that it's okay to be different, that you don't have, there's nothing wrong when you're not the same. You think, oh yeah, we disagree. We don't have this, we don't think the same things. We don't desire, we all have different needs. We all have different wants, and we all do things differently, and that's really okay.
Yeah.
And to not put pressure on yourself or anybody else to be like everybody else, but like, oh yeah, so curiosity on, oh my goodness, well, why? So rather than judgmentalness, then just be curious about what's going on with there, and then be open to it. I mean, one of us in our house likes to eat the whole thing of meat. Just the whole thing of meat. Just like, okay, let's eat the whole pound of barbecue meat. And the other one like, oh, let's take the pound of barbecue meat and let's make 10 different stews. That's 10 servings of stew, and share them with all of our neighbors. And so neither one of those are really wrong or are right. They're just very, very different. And so be light about it, and know that it's really okay. We did do both.
Yeah.
And so that was a good thing. We had a lot of barbecue.
Left from our son's wedding.
So that was great. And another thing, I think, though, sometimes we can go too far and bend over, feel like we're always giving in. And it's not a thing about giving in. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do just have to communicate what you need and ask for what you need. If you're really having some issues of stress, which we all are having right now, then think about, okay, what is it? What do I need? And then feel good to ask for it. Don't expect somebody to know what you're needing, but be able to say, yes, I just really need time alone, or I really need a dance party, or I really need beef or whatever it is that you need, and be sure to ask. And I like the stem that I like is the would you be willing to, and that kind of is a good one, because it takes the pressure off, and you're not demanding anything. Would you be willing to rub my feet tonight? And then the person can say, no, that's really weird. How about if I just rub your shoulders? And it's like, oh, okay, well, that would be okay. And so, but asking for it, and there's nothing wrong, even if you ask for something that you can't have, it's not really bad. So don't feel like, oh, I'm afraid to ask because I'm afraid I'm not going to get what I ask for. Just go ahead and ask, and then come up with solutions.
Yeah, and make sure you're asking for what you need instead of what you don't need.
Yes.
And that's a really big identifier, because a lot of times we'll tell our partner, everything we don't need or we don't like, instead of asking for what we do want or what we do like. And that's a big deal. So let me encourage you to do that. The other part of that too is sometimes one of the growing edges when you're starting to share differences and for asking for what you need is sometimes the partner that may be a little more compliant, if they actually do start doing that, it's kind of surprising to the partner that's not quite so compliant, and you feel like they're just pushing back or trying to provoke. No, they're really not. It's a growing thing to ask to be different and to ask for what you want. So kind of keep that in mind right now, especially during this time when we're kind of cocooned and around each other a little more than we are used to, and make that work for you, because it can. Remember that stem. And would you be willing to ask for what you want and embrace the differences?
Because they're not bad.
They're not bad at all. Have a great day. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.